FHS season tickets.
Welcome back to another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Nick.
And I'm Michael, and today we're talking to Daniel Parlegreco, and you can find him on Twitter at DTP Draft Scout. Does a lot of stuff with the NFL Draft, and that's all that we're going to be talking about today on the show. We're really excited for the NFL Draft. As Cleveland Browns fans, we're going to intro into the first question.
Just one thing, we haven't really been talking about the NFL Draft. We've been covering a lot of NBA, like NFL in general, but there's a lot to talk about, a lot of mock drafts that gone down, but let's get this first question rolling.
So we're just going to go straight to the Browns. What do you think the Browns should be doing at number one? I mean, is there any case for Mitch Trubisky at number one?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I like Trubisky, I think, more than it seems like most guys do. I think he's a franchise quarterback. The question is do you think you can get that guy at 12, or do you think you can maybe move up into the top 10 again to get Trubisky before one of the other teams does? So that's going to be the biggest question mark. I think they have to go with Myles Garrett for a lot of reasons, just because he looks like, he's a once in a generation type of talent, the way he can rush the passer and his explosive abilities. And I just think if you don't take him, you're going to get so much backlash from the media. It's just going to be a nightmare. And if for some reason Trubisky ends up not being as good as they hoped for, it's going to be just going to be a typical same old story for Cleveland.
So what do you like? I mean, that's an interesting take, saying franchise quarterback. That's a pretty bold statement, especially the coverage has come out about him. But what do you like about him? 13 starts only. I feel like a small sample size. I mean, I know he's got the size, some intangibles, but what are some things that you like about him specifically?
Yeah, Trubisky, obviously that's the biggest downside, 13 career starts. But as far as, his actual abilities as a quarterback, very advanced in a lot of this. He doesn't really have an overwhelming weakness. He's got the arm strength, he's got the velocity, he can make all of the throws. He's a really smart kid, he's got good size. He shows the ability to use his feet when he can. He does a nice job looking off defenses, advanced use of his eyes, ability to use all kinds of ball fakes, which he does a nice job of doing. And if you watch the game against Miami this year, he was just outstanding the way he ripped that defense. And they know they're pretty good defense. They got a lot of NFL players on that defense in Miami. He did an outstanding job ripping them apart. Tough kid who just really shows good poise, as far as just being able to hang in there, make the throws in the pocket. And he wins the way in college that you want a quarterback to win, meaning that he wins mostly in the pocket. He's not over-reliant on his feet. And there's just very few downsides besides the amount of career starts for the guy.
Yeah, all those are true. I don't know. Maybe personally, I just can't think of someone that took 2 years. Well, he never even beat out Marcus Williams at quarterback for UNC.
He was coming back. He was a returning starter.
Yeah, I know all those points for sure. Yeah. But also
I have something to say about Trubisky. I mean, just in general, the 13 starts doesn't concern me because Carson Wentz looked fantastic, and that man, the toughest defense he ever saw before the NFL was Iowa State, I think. And Iowa State's no world beaters, so at least Trubisky, in the 13 starts that he played, at least like 11 of them
were worse.
Good defenses.
Yeah.
I mean, even though Wentz had a lot of starts, he had a lot of starts against like a bunch of one-star players in the FCS. Like, that's pretty irrelevant. He was the final straw that I knew I was going to give up ranking quarterbacks because, it makes no sense. Like, I didn't really like Jared Goff. I mean, and obviously you saw Winston and Mariota have talent, but, other than that, quarterbacks from the NFL make no sense. Like Tom Brady, that's another one. But I'm going to ask you, are there any late-round sleepers that you like at the quarterback position? So basically anyone besides, not really a late-round sleeper, but mid to late round, so anyone besides the top 4 quarterbacks that are Trubisky, Watson, Mahomes, and Kaiser. You like anybody else this year?
Yeah, I do actually. One guy I'm really high on, a lot more I think than most people, is Sefo Liufau from Colorado. He's a guy that's he's had some injury concerns. He's been injured quite a bit throughout his career, but really tough kid. He kind of kind of came a little bit out of nowhere this year in Colorado and brought them to a lot more success than they've had in a long time. Really tough, his offensive line did him no favors, constantly getting killed, and just keeps bouncing back. I mean, the guy's a battler, he's a competitor, does a nice job of just battling all game. Very patient guy, reads the field really well, extremely accurate quarterback, had over 70% completion percentage. So he's a guy I think that's going to be an interesting developmental guy. He's kind of a one-year wonder like Trubisky, but doesn't have the upside that Trubisky has. But I think he's going to be a really, really solid backup in this league that could have starter potential down the road. So I'm interested to see where he goes. My guess is probably somewhere between the 4th and 5th round. But I think he's a really, really good player that might play better than his draft stock.
Oh, Daniel, I wish we could have been on Hangouts right now, because you should have seen my co-host Mike's face when you said that name. Oh. His face was pretty priceless. So, Mike, what were you thinking when you heard that?
I just don't see it. Like, I watched a good amount of Colorado games this year, and obviously when he went down, their offense, took a stutter for the worst, but, I cannot see that man as an NFL quarterback. I remember just watching...
Did you see Dak Prescott as one? Because I know for sure when we picked in the opening, you thought he was going to be a scrub. I know for sure you...
I was wrong about that, Dak Prescott, and that was another reason why I'm giving up in really seriously trying to rank college quarterbacks to the NFL. But the Colorado quarterback, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but just no. I remember watching their Washington State game. He was really average, and I was rooting for them to lose. So maybe that's why I'm biased, because I was riding the USC hype train all year and really wanted USC to get into the Pac-12 title game so they could blow out Washington again. So then we wouldn't have had to watch Washington get exposed by Alabama. But that unfortunately didn't happen because Colorado had a really nice regular season before ultimately blowing it.
With these quarterbacks, you're really, especially down the road, mid-late rounds, you're looking for traits. You're looking for a few things that you like about a guy and you think he's got some upside to develop.
That's true.
Well,
I understand all the downsides with him. He doesn't have the great arm. He doesn't impress you the way he throws the football, that's for sure. But with that being said, there's a few things that I noticed in a few games that I watched him this year, and I just thought that he's a battler. He's just a guy I would take a gamble on, but I can see why other teams wouldn't.
See, the one guy that I like who's a later round quarterback is Brad Kaya, and I feel like a lot of people have been having him fall since the end of the year. I really don't understand why. I think he had a decent season, definitely not the best for Miami, as they did have kind of a mid-season crisis where they lost, I believe, 4 games in a row, but he's the guy who you're going to be taking probably round 3. I've seen some people not even have him in the top 8 of their NFL draft quarterbacks. I just can't see that. I think he is the best besides the top 4 quarterbacks, and I think he's going to have a solid career.
No, I understand that. I actually like Kaya, I think more than most people too. But with that being said, I wasn't really thinking, because I still think of him as far as a 3rd or 4th round guy. I know some people have him down the late round, and I think far too low for him. He definitely has ability. He has some advanced quarterback skills that most guys don't have. But the thing with Kaya is he's about as conservative can get, and he's got no movement skills whatsoever. He can't. So a quarterback in this day and age that really can't move very well, and and doesn't. And is very, very conservative. That's not really a price for being a great NFL quarterback. Not saying he can't develop, though, because he does have some really nice qualities as well.
Now I want to move back up to the top of the draft. We kind of went down maybe the later rounds, but all right. I have a question about the kind of the smoke and mirrors games that you think that goes on in these draft rooms with leaks and everything.
Watching the Jacksonville.
How serious do you take kind of the Mitch Trubisky number 1? Like you said, the media outlet, the media outrage to that would be insane. Or maybe Browns aren't even targeting Trubisky. Do you think there's some truth to that? And what do you think goes on in these draft rooms?
No, I know for a fact the Browns have some guys. The Browns do have some guys there in the front office. I'm not sure if it's the coaching staff or the scouts, but there are some guys that are really, really pushing the Trubisky thing. But that being said, I think there's more voices in the Garrett bandwagon. So I think there's definitely, with the Browns, you're kind of going to find out what they're interested in just because of they feel.
That's true.
So I think there's absolutely some guys I really like Trubisky on the coaching staff and possibly scouts there too. But I think the voices for Myles Garrett are going to be much stronger.
I think
they're just going to have a hard time not doing that.
I think this is a special case, though. Like, maybe I'm completely wrong on this, but with them having the 12th pick, they were at times where it looked like Trubisky was going to be able to slide down to number 12. But with them hyping up to be number 1, people know now if they're even going to try to trade up that they want Trubisky and they're going to have to pay a king's ransom, similar with Carson Wentz. What Philadelphia had to get for
like what the Jets did to get Mark Sanchez with the Browns.
So I don't know. I feel like maybe it is a little bit smoke and mirrors games, but like you said, number 1 pick, you don't really have to do that. And I do think they're going to be high.
And they got enough ammunition to the Browns in this draft. If they want to get back in the top 10, 6 or 7 picks in the draft,
yes.
I think they could easily do that.
I agree.
So, it just depends on how much they love Trubisky.
I agree.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm not hoping for Trubisky. I'm hoping for another 2-14 year. Maybe get a guy like Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen. Just not this year, Browns. You can always wait another year to get your quarterback. But now we're going to jump into another skill position. We're going to be targeting the skill positions at the start of this video, and then we're going to be working our way to the defense. Kind of avoiding the offensive line because it's a really bad offensive line draft. But going with the running backs, how would you rank the top 3 running backs in Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, and Dalvin Cook?
I have him as of right now as Fournette 1, Cook 2, McCaffrey 3. Don't get me wrong, I love McCaffrey, and I understand you can't even almost list him as a running back because he's a 4-down player. He's playing special teams for you, every single special teams unit he's playing. He's going to play as a receiver. He's going to be split out wide in clear passing situations. He's such a versatile weapon, so you can't really compare him to necessarily a back, because of the fact that he has so much versatility, and also at the same time, he's not a 20 carry a game guy. He's probably a 10 to 15 carry a game guy, but he's going to be used in so many other roles. So it's hard to put him in that perspective, but you're not going to you can't go wrong drafting McCaffrey because he's going to have value. He's going to be an outstanding football player, and he's probably one of the sure things in this draft if there is one.
Yeah, there are a bunch of teams that have been rumored to be moving up draft boards to potentially draft him. I've heard the Colts maybe want to move up in the draft board to draft him. Nick, what are you going to be asking about now?
There's been things that came out over Twitter. It was probably last week, I think, where the Wonderlic results came back, and it's always fun to see.
These 3 running backs got combined.
Yeah, I think McCaffrey got an 18. That was the highest, but
it was
early 21 or something. But anyways, how much bearing do you put on the Wonderlic at all? Is there any certain position, maybe quarterback? I could only think of how much it would truly matter because this is like an ACT almost, math question. So I just want to get your thoughts on the Wonderlic.
Yeah, obviously, like you mentioned, I think you put it really good. It really depends on the position. If you're talking about a quarterback, you're talking about a position that you need. Certain positions on the defense, middle linebacker. You want to have guys that obviously can do enough. They're going to be signal callers on one unit of your offense or your defense. They're going to have a valuable part of the team. I think it's important. But some positions it probably doesn't matter as much. It just really depends. But I think it's a little bit overvalued. I don't think teams put as much emphasis on it as you would imagine they do.
No. Yeah, I agree with you completely on that one.
You want to know who has an insanely high Wonderlic that I would have never imagined? Johnny Manziel. That guy.
What do you have against Johnny Manziel?
I mean, if you think about Johnny Manziel in public perception, this guy you would view as an idiot who probably skipped classes.
It's not a common sense. It's not a common sense test.
No, but
he would get a 1 maybe on that.
He got higher than Darren Rovell, and Darren Rovell's a Northwestern grad. That's pretty sad. The Northwestern grad can't beat Johnny Manziel in the Wonderlic. And Darren Rovell was calling out all these running backs for having such low Wonderlic scores.
What was Johnny Manziel's Wonderlic?
It was a 30.
Oh wow.
Which is higher than most people this year.
Yeah.
Nick, do you want to take the next question or me?
You can take this.
Okay, we're going to be hopping into wide receivers. And I've seen a lot of people not have Mike Williams at number 1 on the wide receivers, and I really can't see a reason why he isn't number 1. I think he's clearly the best receiver in this draft. No offense to Corey Davis or John Ross, who are going to be fine players in the NFL, but I really think that Mike Williams is the best receiver in the draft. Do you agree with me on that? And where do you see the other two guys going?
No, I don't actually. I like Mike Williams a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a heck of a player. I think all three of these guys have concerns, though. That's the thing about this draft is there's not really many guys in the first round that have clean slates, meaning they don't have off the field issues or they don't have serious durability considerations. And all three of these top receivers have durability questions. Mike Williams has been hurt, obviously, we know. John Ross is continually hurt. He's been hurt throughout his career. And Corey Davis has got this nagging ankle injury that's prevented him from doing any type of fast workouts. So there's concerns about all three of them injury-wise. I just think as more of a well-rounded player, I just like Corey Davis a lot. I think he does more for you in today's day and age. He's more refined in a lot more aspects. Mike Williams he relies on posting up and dominating and smaller corners in the ACC. And I just think that the way he wins, he's not relying on route running ability. He's constantly the best athlete on the field against the competition he goes up against. And he's very, very raw as a route runner. If you watch the pro day at all, I mean, the guy he's just not there. He's going to need some time. And I just think Corey Davis is so explosive after the catch. Kind of reminds you of Terrell Owens, the way he can make plays with the ball in his hand. And he's just more refined as a route runner. He's more of a deep play threat. He's more of a 4-4 guy on film. Whereas Mike Williams is much more of a, looks like a 4-5-5 or a 4-6 guy on tape. He's not going to run past anybody at the next level. I just think Corey Davis has a more transferable set of skills that's going to translate at the next levels.
Mike Williams, you mentioned best athlete on the field. I want that from my wide receiver. Like, that's what I want my number 1 wide receiver.
Well, when the NFL comes around, he's making the argument that he won't
I
be
know
the best
that he won't be the
outfit.
best athlete on the field, but I see that 6'4" frame, and I see that he was very productive in college against the better competition than John Ross or Corey Davis faced. So I definitely would have Mike Williams at number 1. A wide receiver that I really like, well, two of them that I really like, both from the Big 12. They're lower on the draft boards, are D.D. Westbrook and K.D. Cannon. These are two small guys who will be able to work in the slot, maybe beat some defenders deep. Do you like either of those two guys? Because I've been high on K.D. Cannon for a long time. How do you feel about that?
I like both of them, actually. D.D. Westbrook obviously has some off-the-field concerns. I think before the pre-draft process started with the media, I think he was in the first, second-round discussions. But I think now, because there are some question marks about him as a player, some off-the-field issues that he had at Oklahoma, it's going to be interesting to see what teams found out in the dating process and the interview process with the player. But no question, he's a talented football player that can take the top off any defense. So there's obviously interest there. D.D. Cannon, very similarly, not quite as good, in my opinion, as D.D. Westbrook, but a similar type of player in that they're both explosive. I think Westbrook is more of a refined player. He can do a little bit more. Obviously, Baylor's offense is a little limited in the type of routes that he had the room. Cannon, but I like both of them as mid-round guys. I think Westbrook would be tremendous value if you got him anywhere 3rd or 4th round. I think that's just, that would be, an outstanding. You get outstanding value for that. I think Cannon will probably go somewhere in the 4th, 5th, somewhere around there, and he's going to be a good player too.
All right. Sticking with the vein of these position rankings, I think one of probably the second most important position on the field, in my opinion, is the end. On either side, defense or offense.
This is actually something that was really interesting that I was looking up when I was doing an article about the Cleveland Browns and the number 1 pick. I believe it's been since 1997, the last time that a number 1 overall pick has not been a quarterback, offensive tackle, or defensive end who was a pass rusher. So that just shows that those 3 positions are the primary. Nick, I'll let you go on now.
Yeah, so speaking on these important positions then, top 3, according to CBS, are, and most people I assume, is Myles Garrett, Solomon Thomas, Derek Barnett.
You could also throw Jonathan Allen in there too.
Exactly, that's D-tackle though, but you could also throw that in there. Can you rank those guys in your opinion? Should probably be around the same as that. But also, do you have a sleeper anywhere along the defensive line that you think could do some really great things?
Yeah, there's so many. There's a lot of defensive tackles. Actually, kind of a weaker class this year. Last year's class was so good. Where there's so much value. Defensive end this year is. I think there's a lot of really good players, but a lot of the defensive ends you'll notice in this draft class, the higher ranking ones are small school guys. So obviously there's a little bit of projection with these guys, meaning that they obviously look good in some of the East-West Shrine game and also the Senior Bowl and the Combine. But there is still a question of how they're going to do at the next level going against NFL competition. With that being said, defensive ends, edge, I'll just say I call him edge in my guy just because of the fact that basically it's a 4-3 defensive end or a 3-4 outside linebacker. Obviously Myles Garrett is number one. I like my second favorite is Solomon Thomas. To me, he's more of a 3 technique, 4-3 defense. I view him more as a defensive tackle, so I don't put him in that line in the edge rusher category. So my second favorite edge rusher in the draft is Derek Barnett. I think Barnett that doesn't have the explosiveness that obviously Myles Garrett has, but Barnett does a lot more for you. The production he had on the SEC level, you're going up against the same competition that Myles Garrett went up against, and if you watch some of the same competition, you'll notice Derek Barnett beat his guys, especially going against Cam Robinson. Barnett did a much better job against Cam Robinson than Myles Garrett did, so it tells you a lot about the guy. I'm much higher in him than I think a lot of guys are. I think he's a top 10 player, but he doesn't have the explosiveness that Garrett has. And other guys I really like after Barnett, I love Carl Lawson. I think he's obviously has some injury issues that he's had to deal with in the past, but he's had some outstanding games. Tim Williams, another guy who you can argue is, if not, he's right up there with Myles Garrett as far as a pass rusher. But obviously he has the off-the-field concerns. And then probably Taco Charlton right after those guys.
Yeah, I love Carl Lawson. I did a nice fist bump to the camera when you said that you like him. He is my guy after those top 4 guys of Garrett, Thomas, Barnett, and Taco Charlton. I love Carl Lawson. I think he's going to be a very productive player. Another guy I like, DeMarcus Walker out of Florida State. Whenever I watched him, I just saw a big dude making plays for that Seminole defense. He was a beast everywhere on the field. Derek Barnett, you mentioned he was really productive in college, but he doesn't seem that explosive, and the SEC doesn't have that many great offensive linemen besides Cam Robinson. So while he was a very productive and good college player, I don't think he's going to be explosive enough to be a great defensive lineman in the NFL. And I am biased because I'm a Vanderbilt fan, and I do like another Tennessee player in Cam Sutton, who we might get into later, but I just don't see Barnett at the next level, as I think he's kind of peaked at the college level because he was an All-American, one of the best defensive linemen in the country for college. Don't quite see that for the NFL, and that brings in my guy from Vandy, Zach Cunningham, has been slipping on draft boards.
Oh, man.
People saying that he can't tackle despite having more tackles than people who claim they can't tackle. Where do you see Zach Cunningham going, and how much do you like him as a player, or do you hate him?
No, you gotta like Zach Cunningham. I mean, he's not the type of guy that you can watch and really hate. He does so many things for you as far as... Sorry, my dog's barking here.
It's okay.
It's all good.
Stop. But Zach Cunningham, obviously, he's got rear size for a linebacker. What is he, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4"? I mean, the kind of length, arm length he's got. There's too much to like about the guy not to like him. As an outside linebacker in a 4-3, he'd be ideal, playing either as a will or a Mike linebacker. He's just a rangy guy, always around the football. He always finds the football. Really, really intelligent, smart kid, can shed blocks. I think he's going to end up being, my guess is he's going to be an early second-round pick, just because of the fact that maybe with what's going on with Foster, maybe that will maybe that'll make Cunningham go a little bit earlier, because teams will view Cunningham as more of a, hey, at least we know for a fact we're getting a good guy. He's not going to have off-the-field concerns, and he's going to be a 3-down player for us. So late 1, early 2, I think Cunningham's will go, but he's tremendously talented.
Yeah, I love Zach Cunningham. He single-handedly saved us so many times throughout the year. I remember he had a 16 tackle game against Georgia and was consistently in the double digits. I could probably argue that he was the most productive linebacker in the country from a Power 5 conference. Definitely had better.
You watched the Georgia game. You watched that Georgia game when you'll draft in the top 5 after that game.
I mean, I watched almost every game from the past 2 years, so it's not just that game.
Trust me, Daniel, this man, we live in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know how he became a Vanderbilt fan. Still unsure about this, but he covers them religiously, so
I know. I'm just saying that game.
No, I know. You said
just unbelievable.
You said earlier, though, I don't know how you could hate Zach Cunningham, but half of us here could hate him pretty well with this how much he talks about Vanderbilt. But another guy in regards to linebacker, another guy that has been, I feel like, rising up draft boards, at least getting a lot more coverage, is T.J. Watt for Wisconsin, right? Yeah, Wisconsin.
Just like JJ.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's obviously due to the dominance of his older brother, but I mean, I've seen things of he's more athletic than JJ.
That is ridiculous. Whoever said that should be fired.
And stuff like that, or possibly more athletic. So I kind of wanted to get your input on T.J. Watt and what are your thoughts?
No, T.J. Watt's a really good football player. Kind of came out of nowhere this year.
He
for
did.
Wisconsin. He battled some injury concerns earlier in his career, but came out of nowhere this year and had an outstanding year. I think he had 11 sacks, but he's a really good football player. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to lead one now. A lot of teams in the back half of the first round that love the guy, and you know what you're getting with him. As long as he doesn't have any more injury concerns, durability question marks going forward, you're getting a really, really solid football player who, at the very least, is going to, be good. He might not be great. He might not have elite pass rush potential for the next level. But judging off the numbers, I think he really, really impressed. You watch the tape of him, you see a good pass rusher. You don't see a great pass rusher. You see a guy that wins a lot with his hands. He can shed blockers. But you don't see a guy that's, tremendously quick off the line of scrimmage. But you look at those numbers, the way he worked out at the combine, and you say, wow, those are elite pass rushing numbers.
Yeah.
The 10-yard split. You look at certain things like that you want in an elite pass rusher, and he was outstanding in all those things. So a combination of having a really good year and great pre-draft workout, I think he's going to go high. And he's a good football player. He can fit in either scheme, I think, too. He played mostly as a stand-up guy at Wisconsin, but I think I can see why some teams, because of his strength, his physicality, he can play on the line of scrimmage as a defensive end as well.
That's interesting. I remember watching the Wisconsin-Michigan State game. This is a game me and Nick debated about a lot. I took Michigan State, Nick took Wisconsin, and Nick was right about that game. One of the few times this year.
What am I wrong?
One of the few times this year that you've been right about a game that we have debated about college football. But he had a huge game that game. I remember he was all over the field. Michigan State's offense did absolutely nothing that game. I remember I took the over for my bets, and I was pissed that did not cover. But now we're going to be going into the cornerback position.
Defensive backfield.
Yeah, which I would
riddled
say,
with Ohio State players.
Yeah, you see the top two. We're just going on CBS Sports.
Malik Hooker.
I question a lot of these rankings from CBS Sports, but the cornerback position absolutely loaded. Do you like Marshawn Lattimore as much as everybody else does? Because I think he is getting pretty overrated at this point.
Really? Yeah. What do you not like about Lattimore?
I mean, I don't know what it was, but I always felt that Conley was just as good, if not better. And we obviously know the situation with him. About the incident with a woman in Cleveland, but then the woman might be trying to set him up. We don't really know anything about that story right now. But I just always viewed Conley, whenever I was watching his Ohio State, as just a better player. And to have Lattimore above guys like Quincy Wilson, significantly above them. I'm not saying Lattimore might not be better than them, or Marlon Humphrey. I think he's better than them, but some people have him a round or 2 rounds better than even guys like Tez Tabor, Sidney Jones, Cam Sutton, and also Jordan Lewis. I don't see him separating from the rest of the class. Do you see him being?
No, I agree with what you're saying. The problem is only so many corners can go in each round.
Exactly.
There's so much depth at that position. You're gonna draft guys. I'm telling you, this year there's gonna be guys, corners drafted in the 4th and 5th round that are gonna be starters in their NFL career. lot of guys. The cornerback class is like we've never seen before. There's going to be so much value in the later part of the draft because everybody's so close. I mean, I'm looking at, trying to rank my cornerbacks on my guy. I was looking at the 12th or the 14th ranked one, and then I look at the second or third ranked one. I think, man, it is such a slim margin, the difference on tape. I mean, you're looking at a couple plays where there's a couple plays, maybe a slip up. I mean, it's that close. And I understand what you're saying. Connolly obviously made more plays in college. He was tested more often. And somebody I was reading the other day had a good point that Connolly a lot of times was covered, in most instances for Ohio State, was covered the number one wide receiver on the opposing team. So that tells you a little bit about what the coaching staff thought of Connolly, that he can handle it. He gave up more touchdowns as well. Connolly, he did compete a few times for some big touchdowns. But with that being said, he also made more plays than Lattimore. The thing with Lattimore you got to remember is it's very, very rare that you have a guy that's 6'1", over 200 pounds, and that can run and move side to side the way Lattimore can move. And he just has the arm length, he's got the size, the toughness, the strength, the physicality. It's rare that you find a guy like that. But there are the concerns of the fact that he didn't get tested an awful lot at Ohio State, which was interesting. If you watch the film, he didn't get tested too much. And also the fact that he was injured his first 2 years at Ohio State. He had constant hamstring injuries. So I can see the concerns with him, but the talent level, I think his potential, his upside is better than anybody else in the class, and I think that's part of the reason why he'll get drafted higher than else.
Yeah, I mean, I see Quincy Wilson as like basically the same player as him. Nick, I'll let you finish off. You want to go into the safeties now?
Yeah, I mean the safeties. I'm just surprised on because I am an Ohio State fan. I know Mike likes Vanderbilt and everything.
I still watch a lot of Ohio State. I just watch a lot of college football in general.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised on. Do you think the Malik Hooker injury? Well, I mean, what do you think about the safety class this year with the diluted test? I mean, it was looking pretty strong, but the diluted test with Jabril Peppers, Jamal Adams still looks pretty solid. But the injury of Malik Hooker doesn't even look like it destroyed his draft value at all. What do you think about the safety class and the Jabril Peppers and even the Hooker situation?
No, I love the safety class. Another class that's extremely deep. It's probably comparable actually to the cornerback class. Probably not quite as deep. There aren't quite as many players, but the safety class is really, really good.
Yeah.
Some of these guys I've evaluated very early on in the process, like Josh Jones, Owen Melifonwu. I had those guys as mid-late round picks at the beginning of draft process. And then these guys have went so far up the board. Now both of them are second round players, which is just crazy to me. The amount of talent that there is in this class. One guy I'm not as high on as others is Melifonwu. He had an outstanding combine, outstanding pre-draft workouts. But I fear with him just watching the film. I watched most of his games this year, and a little bit of a workout warrior, and that's what I worry about. I was blown away by how fast he ran at the combine this pro day because. If you watch the film, he does not move like that on tape,
no.
Which is concerning to me. I certainly would draft him until the third round, but I know he's going to go a lot higher than that because his combination of size, speed, the way he worked out, team's going to overdraft him, but I think they're going to be disappointed. Malik Hooker, obviously talented guy, but he's a little bit of a one-year wonder. You guys know that. He had a huge year at the interceptions, the way he found the football, including the single high guy. Jamal Adams, he's another one of those surefire things. You know what you're getting. He's had a successful career every year. He's been at LSU. He's just always around the football. He's not going to create the big turnovers like Hooker will, but he's just a solid football player that you're going to love on your team.
Yeah, the second.
I really, really like too is he doesn't get a lot of hate, but I actually have him as a top 5 safety. Is Delano Hill from Michigan. He played. With Peppers, but he played more as a single high. He'd come in the back sometimes too. And I'm interested to see where he goes because I think I see something a lot different on this guy than a lot of other guys do. I think he's going to be a day 2 player. And I'm interested to see if teams view him as highly as I did because he's a heck of a player that can, as a strong safety, I think he's a really, really good player. And Xavier Woods, another guy that I think is going to go a lot higher than people have as well.
I find it incredible that you watched almost every UConn game. I don't know how. You can do that.
Well, I am in Connecticut, don't forget, too. So
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did research that before, and I saw that you were from Connecticut. Okay, that explains something. We were just looking at his measurements because we're like in the background researching stuff like at the last minute, just keeping up. And 6'4" with a 4.4 40. That's impressive. I can't say I watched any Connecticut football this year, but
That's insane.
those are some height and speed and the weight was pretty solid too. Like that impressed me. A guy like more than most people, Desmond King, he kind of fell off this year. I guess he's trying to switch to free safety. That's what a lot of the draft boards have been having him as. Do you like Desmond King?
I like Desmond King a lot. I think Desmond King is a heck of a football player. That's a magnet to the football, and he can tackle. So you add those two things, that combination of skill sets, being able to tackle, being a really, really solid tackler, and being able to find the football. I think he has, I want to say, almost 20 interceptions in his career at Iowa. I mean, the guy, and that's playing cornerback as his own corner.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy just finds the football, and that's telling you something. So imagine playing him as a free safety, as a guy that, as long as he can, transition smoothly and easily, but being able to tackle and being able to find the football and playing as his own corner makes me think that it's going to be a quick and easy transition for him. But I think I would be shocked if he gets out of the second round because he's too good. He doesn't have the elite, the size or the elite speed, straight line speed.
Small.
And I think those two things kill him.
Yeah, you mentioned about Alfanu being a workout, or possibly being a workout warrior, won't shout that on the field. It was just an interesting point. I wonder how much that actually happens with NFL players. You see people run insane 40s, do really well at the combine,
and
on
also
almost all
you see
aspects.
people fall due
Exactly.
to 40. Like a guy like Tez Tabor.
Tyrann Mathieu with
maybe he was lazy
10 reps.
because he had a bad thing.
Yeah.
Secondary players, especially cornerbacks, they get drafted more so on their 40-yard dash than any other position.
Yes.
It's a fact.
Well, I remember Byron Jones did like the
that?
long jump. Byron Jones did like the long jump he got in the first round. Do you remember that?
No.
You remember? Yeah.
Where did he go to college?
I think UConn, right?
UConn, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that guy.
Dallas, yes.
That's what they were joking about.
Exactly.
Melifonwu beat some of his records at the combine with a broad jump and a few other things. But you know what? Byron Jones was a little bit of that too. Was that he was a kind of a similar player.
That's what I was thinking exactly.
College, which is funny.
Yeah.
Not obviously the size of Melifonwu, but he was a little bit of a he was a good player on tape, but his stock increased tremendously after his pre-draft workouts. And
stuck in the first round.
Just being a Cowboys person myself, Byron Jones he's been okay so far.
Exactly.
He's been vastly disappointing based on what we were expecting. I think coming in to his career, the type of talent he has. So, and I think he was a better player in college than Melifonwu was. So.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I would be a bit concerned Melifonwu going too early because I think teams are going to have too high expectations when they see those workout numbers.
And just that height, like that's almost Cam Chancellor, like not trying to make any comparisons though.
That'd be insane. Nick, do you have one last thing for him?
No, that was pretty much my last question.
I got one last question.
Sure.
Any FCS or Division II player that you love that me and Nick and any of our viewers have never heard of?
That's a good question. There's a lot of them. Names. I'm not good with names, and I forget names sometimes. But a kid that's really good that I think is moving up boards is Trey Hendrickson. I think he comes from Florida Atlantic. He's a guy that played outstanding at the East-West game all week. And I think he might be in the day 2 discussion now. Long, rangy guy that he can play as a 3-down player. Really, really impressive guy on the tape. So he's one guy that I think was really impressive. There's some running backs that I really like this year that come from small schools. One of the guys I really like is a running back. I'm trying to get his name. Tariq Cohen from North Carolina A&T.
Wow.
You watch him on film. He literally is like a highlight reel. He looks like he has the juke button. He's a juke button on an Xbox controller. The way he can weave and maneuver between guys. Just phenomenal. There's a few guys like that in this draft at the running back position that are really impressive from small schools. Elijah McGuire, I think Louisiana Lafayette, another guy who's a really talented guy that'll probably go somewhere in the later rounds. But yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, he's just an NFL draft encyclopedia out here. I mean, when you ask like me, who a small school guy who I like is, I'd be saying like Kareem Hunt from Toledo or
Forrest Lamp.
Carlos Henderson from Louisiana Tech, and he's busting out North Carolina A&T, and like, whoa, just can't even compete.
Yeah. That was awesome.
All right, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Awesome having
No
you.
problem, guys. It was a pleasure.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe and follow Daniel on Twitter.